It was a very, very good presentation in terms of what we are doing, and we've done a lot actually in the last year and a half. And I'd be interested to see my industry counterparts and their views on this. We've got a state of public sector cloud computing that was published with 30 case studies that we know of, and just at the NASA IT Summit that I just went to a couple of days ago where I spoke, I found another 5 or 10 that's going out there just walking the hallways. So we have actually got more that's going on across government that we don't even know about. So wouldn't it be nice if we have all of this sort of published more openly and everyone sort of publish their own and it's right out there that you can take a look at and see how that's being used? So that's one thing. So these case studies, we're going to keep on bringing that out so that people know that, you know what, this is what's going on. And people can then sort of resonate with some things that they feel is of interest and we've talked to several people, not only from DHS and others that are very, very interested in cloud. So there's no doubt about it, there's going to be an investment here. The second point that came out of this is there's a need for a strategy paper. So one of the things that we were critiqued on was when are you going to publish the strategy paper? So the good news is we're working on a strategy paper and we will publish that. And we have an OMB presence in the room, so I will not release that exact date. I'm looking in that general direction. But we are going to have something that would be published this year. And the idea is that this strategy paper would allow us to have a comprehensive and government strategy on cloud. The third thing that came out is that there was a lot of discussion regarding the common definition. So we have now got a lot of progress on common definitions, exactly what's the kinds of models, what exactly is platform as a service, software as a service, infrastructure as a service, what are some of the criteria that we're using, what are some of the controls. We made a lot of progress. I mentioned 250 controls. I mean, at an offering like this, when you're getting that specific, I can even get more specific in terms of how we're looking at 853 and 37 and so on and so forth. So there is a lot of consensus of opinion in the government. We are also working with the Intel community. You mentioned the DICAP or someone may, and so clearly, there is, believe it or not, this is mildly controversial point number 3. There were 2 earlier, by the way. And the third one is Intel community. How do they look at cloud? So is their moderate or high? Is our moderate their low? What is the normalizing way that we look at things? Having come from part of the Intel community, we tended to be more risk averse and we would not protect ourselves for obvious reasons and go a little bit higher. So we are engaging with them as well, and we want to try to figure out the civilian agencies are sort of generally agreeing that this is what it is. But can you imagine 24 CFO Act agencies and all these agencies agreeing with all CISOs who are generally risk averse? Because what have they been told throughout their lives? One OCRAP wipes out all their attaboys, right? So if they have one little incident, security incidents, they're toast. And so is the CIO. So with that kind of an approach, we have to change that. We have to figure out a way. So this process really allows everyone to be together on one basis. There's some strength in numbers, sort of an approach that we're looking at. Hey, there's consensus around what we're doing. There is still some question regarding for records and privacy and security, whether certain things are lending themselves towards more a private cloud versus public offerings. So the question there is that, for example, some people are coming to us and saying, listen, I'd be happy to do a private cloud as long as it was moderate or high, and that's good enough. But if you're going into public or hybrid, I may be a little concerned. So that is a mindset, because they don't know, and that's to Kurt's point, which is a key point, by the way, that first secure the infrastructure, but it's much more than infrastructure. The defense in depth is now something different, right? We want to go beyond defense in depth. We want to talk about data and information. So to me, that protection and the security controls are really, really important. And the last point I'd like to make is that there was a lot of discussion about the acquisition front, and clearly we are on the forefront of that. I was intrigued that currently, so far, I was talking about the model. NASA, DOI, DOD, and others have looked at cloud facilities. USDA and others, DOI and others are looking at cloud services. Under the GWACs and the MACs, there's the NASA, NIH, DHS, DOD, and GSA. We are all working together to get these things out. I think there's a lot of interest in acquisitions coming forth and what is real. Because I'll just leave you with this one thought. a lot of the acquisitions are based on infrastructure and statement of works and CLINs and very, very rigid, data item descriptions and all this kind of stuff. This cloud model is different. It moves. It moves all the time, and it's very nimble, and people want to just pay for just enough. So our apps.gov experience has showed us that we are a little bit ahead of the market, but we need to kind of work with the market to understand the elasticity of how do we respond to that. So that's the thing of acquisition that we are coming out with very soon, and just stay tuned. You'll see a lot of new work that'll be coming out in acquisitions, which will really focus on this email as a service. And we're also looking at new concepts that we worked with DoD and others, which is looking at new ways to not only do security, but also look at Forge, software repositories in the cloud, and so on and so forth. So you'll find a lot of new work coming out in that area.